Okay, so we're going to continue with our look at rhythm guitar techniques as used by Angus Young. And we're going to look at a really interesting technique, a really cool technique now, which is how Angus uses pick and fingers. Now, you can hear some great examples of this in some classic AC/DC tracks. Put the Finger on You is a great example, but probably the most famous is for those about to rock. That introduction, the way that Angus plays that pick and fingers is just absolutely iconic, and how it gradually builds into when the whole band kicks in and you come in with that riff. That is my favourite AC/DC song of all time. I think that's just such a great song. Now, Angus uses this technique to kind of break up riffs or take the chord progression and play it in a different way to add variation. It may be used as an introduction or used as a drop-down verse or as a drop-down section. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be outlining the chords of A5, D major, and G. But we're going to be playing them on just two strings. So we're going to be playing the A5 power chord, just as it's an inverted power chord. We're playing it here on the G and the B strings. Then we're going to play a D, an inverted D, but just two notes. Just one finger barring across, and then we play the original shape just by adding our second finger to play the G5. So you have A5, and then we have the D5, the D major, sorry, and then the G5. Now, the interesting thing that's going on here is with the picking hand. I've watched some videos of this. There's a couple of different ways that you can play this, but let's look at the way that Angus plays it first of all, which is utilising both pick and fingers. So he's still holding the pick in the traditional way, and he plays with the pick on the G string, but then he sneaks in his middle finger, and that's playing the B string. And he's kind of pulling, sort of pinching the two fingers together, sort of this sort of movement, if you like, to enable him sort of to pick the strings and give it quite a cut-off percussive sound. Sort of bouncing your hand a little bit on the strings. You know, be careful not to hit the other strings. Also, I've backed the gain down. I've actually turned off the boost pedal, so I'm just using the sound of the driven clean channel on the amplifier. So you don't want it to be too saturated, as it can become quite messy, this technique. So we're going to play the, first of all, let's practice each chord. So we do the A5. Okay, now let's do the D major, just barring with your first finger. And then let's play the G major. And we can just practice on each chord fragment just to get used to the technique. Okay, here it's got a really cool sound. If you find that too hard, you can actually use either your thumb and your first finger, put the pick in the palm of your hands. Or you can hold the pick, hold the pick in the same way actually, and use your first and second fingers. The thing about playing it with your fingers, it has a slightly softer sound. I think it doesn't have the attack of when you play it with the pick. That was with the pick, now with the fingers. Yeah, it's just there's a slightly different sound about it. If you find it too hard playing it with the pick, then experiment using just your fingers. The pick and fingers thing does take a little bit of time to get used to, but you are literally just sort of, you're gripping the strings and you're pulling that B string up, but you're picking, so you're sort of pinching the fingers together, or the pick down towards the fingers. So now let's practice through our next practice exercise. And what we're going to be doing is doing a similar thing as to what we did with the open position power chords, where we're changing the chord fragments on the push. So you're going to be playing the A5 chord fragment for 1 and 2 and 3. And then you're going to play and 4 on the D. And then and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the G. Okay, so put that together slowly. Okay, so you're 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The difference between this riff and the power chord riff is that we're not putting a break in between the chord changes. We're not using the mute like we did with the, putting the palm down to cut the chord off. The style of the riff here is to keep that constant eighth note rhythm going, but change the chord fragments on the offbeat. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to play through our riff at a slow tempo. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's pick the tempo up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now it's your turn to practice through our Pick and Fingers riff example.